All right, what's up, y'all? This is Facebook Ministry Ads, and my name is Chris Abbott. So, whether or not you're watching this video because you are recapping our strategy call that we had, or if you're actually showing this to someone on your team or on your board, what I'm going to do in this video is just kind of recap everything that we talked about and kind of give an overview of Facebook Ministry Ads, why they are so different, and why they are growing so many churches here all across the country. All right, Facebook Ministry Ads. Again, my name's Chris Abbott. That's me right there. And here are just a few quick facts about Facebook. Now, there's 2.5 billion people on Facebook. 1.6 billion log in every single day, and 1 out of every 3 people on Facebook are between the ages of 25 and 34, which means if you're trying to reach young families, this is the single best way to do that. 1/3 out of everyone on Facebook, they are between the ages of 25 and 34. Now, my guess is that you already knew this is the best way to reach that generation, which is probably why you signed up for a strategy call in the first place, right? Well, we have developed a new type of social media outreach that we call Facebook Ministry Ads. Now, this is totally different than anything else out there. We're the only ones to do it because we literally invented it. Now, the goal is to initiate ministry conversations with people in your city and build relationship equity with everyone within driving distance of your church before you ever invite them to church. Now, the problem with most churches is that they try to invite people to church before they've built value and trust. So there isn't any relationship equity. Now, if you've ever tried to run Facebook ads in the past and didn't work, this is probably why. You probably just went out there and tried to invite people to church so that you could do ministry, right? It makes sense. You invite them to church so that when they show up, we can do ministry. But what we've done with Facebook Ministry Ads is we actually flipped that model. So it looks like this. We do ministry first and then invite them to church. Okay, so that old model is why Facebook ads doesn't work. This new model is a complete game changer. It's a ministry first approach. Now, this way, the first interaction with people within driving distance of your church is ministry. And then once you earn their trust and build some relationship equity, now you can invite them to church. But it's positioned in a way that helps them throughout the entire process, right? So you're giving value and actually helping them, and that's why this is so powerful. So the old model, right, with an invite campaign, it doesn't matter if you are doing direct mail or if you're doing Facebook ads or invite cards. It doesn't matter. This is what happens. It's your church going out to the world and inviting them. That's an invite campaign. But with this new model, it flips it, and ministry ads actually bring the people in your community to you. Okay, so that's why it's so powerful, completely changes the game. It's no longer you going out to everybody, but they come to you. So let me show you an example of what a ministry ad looks like so you can get a little bit better picture of kind of what we're talking about here. So this is an ad that we ran for my church. This is Pastor Jeremy and his wife, Nina, right? So begin by calling out the city, say, "Hey, Tulsa, how can I pray for you this week? My name is Jeremy, and I'm one of the pastors at Guts Church. As a pastor, there's one thing I know for sure. Every single person is either going through a storm, just came out of a storm, or is about to go into a storm. So whatever it is, I'd love to pray for you personally. Click on the link below and send me your prayer request. After all, it can't hurt to have a pastor praying for you, right? I promise to read every one and to personally pray for you this week. See you soon, Pastor Jeremy." Okay, we got a picture of them in there, and the title is, the headline, is, "How Can I Pray For You?" Now, when they click that button down there, send message, what happens is it's actually going to keep them inside of Facebook. It's going to pull up Facebook Messenger, and it's going to kick off an automated sequence that's then going to collect their prayer request as they send it in, and it's going to send you a notification on your phone that, hey, John Smith just submitted a prayer request, and then it's also going to kick off a sequence that's going to say, "Hey, by the way, John, we're going to be praying for you, but we're having church this Sunday at 10 o'clock. Would you like to come out so that we can pray for you in person?" Right? And then John has the opportunity to say yes or no. And if he says yes, he can actually plan his visit, and the system will actually take them through plan your visit, where they submit their name, email, and phone number and plan a visit for that Sunday. And then you get another separate notification on your phone letting you know that John Smith just planned his visit. Here's his name, email, and phone number. Call him as soon as possible to connect with them before Sunday, right? So now doing it this way is a game changer because, again, we're offering value up front. Now, inside of our system and the training, we're actually going to show you how to send audio prayers to every single prayer request that comes in. Again, that way they're actually hearing you pray for them by name, pray for them and their unique prayer request, and actually hearing your voice, which is just going to build more of that leadership and relationship equity that we were talking about. And so a lot of people that don't plan their visit up front, after you send that audio prayer, will then plan your visit. We just had a church call me yesterday saying that they have had a ton of people do this. After they send the audio prayer, then they ask, hey, would you like to come out this Sunday so we can pray for you in person? And they're asking that through the audio prayer. Game changer, and it's doubling the amount of plan your visits that they're getting. Now, the reason this works, okay, we've actually run the system for over 250 churches in 5 different countries. And what we found is that about 10% of the people who submit a prayer request end up planning a visit. So if you end up having 100 prayer requests, you'll probably have about 10 plan your visits. Now, this works 100% of the time, every time, starting on day 1 when we turn the ads on. And here's why. It's because this isn't marketing. This is ministry. That's why it's so powerful. Okay, so let me show you some of the churches that we partner with and show you exactly what I mean, right? This isn't marketing, this is ministry. Here's what happened. So we have a church of about 20 that we've partnered with. Now, their biggest challenge before the program was growing a committed core team and finding ways to expand their reach in the community. That's exactly what they told us. They've been praying about how to do this with such a small team, because again, they're only running 20 people. And then they found us on Facebook. All right, so here's what happened. In 3 months, they had 144 plan your visits in 90 days. Okay, so they had 1,817 subscribers, and I'll explain why that matters here in just a minute. They had 1,281 prayer requests and 144 plan your visits. Now, you'll see those other tags in there coming next week in soft plan a visit. Those are basically RSVPs. So those are people who didn't plan a visit and submit their name, email, and phone number and all their contact information, but they did say, yes, I am coming this Sunday and I'm planning on, and I'll be out there. So that's a church of 20 people with 144 plan your visits in only 90 days. Right? So that's why this is so powerful, because you can see with a church of that size having that many plan your visits within a 90-day period, it ends up being a game changer, right? This church literally cut everything else that they were doing, and they just went all in on Facebook ministry ads because it was working so well. So when you add those up and you look at the RSVPs and the plan your visits, it's just under 300. I think it's 286 people who live within driving distance of that church of 20 people and said, yes, I'm coming to church, right? And half of them submitted their contact info so you can follow up with them. Complete game changer. Now, that subscriber number, the cool thing about that is basically Facebook Messenger. If you have an email newsletter, and your email newsletter, typically you probably have about 15% open rates, right? So for the sake of argument, if you have 1,000 people on your email newsletter and you send them an email inviting them out to your Easter services, out of those 1,000 people, about 150 will open them. But see, inside of Facebook Messenger, the open rates are 93%. So you have Messenger has a messenger list, which is kind of like kind of like an email list that lives inside of Facebook. So if you have 1,000 people on your email list, you invite them out to Easter, you get about 150 who'll read it. If you have 1,000 people on your messenger list and you invite them out to Easter, 930 of them will open. So that's what's so crazy is this church right here, they're, at the time of this video, they are on pace to probably have somewhere around 5,000 subscribers on Facebook Messenger, which means at Easter, they will be able to send out an invite, this church of 20, which they're at more than 20 now at this point, right? But this church of 20 people is going to be able to send out, an invite for Easter Sunday to 5,000 people for free with 93% open rates and astronomically higher engagement, right? So can you see why this is becoming so powerful, and even smaller churches can do it? And those subscribers are just like email subscribers, where they're basically on your list forever until they unsubscribe. And just like email, most people never unsubscribe. All right, so here is a church of 60. Now, their biggest challenge is figuring out how to get the word out. Right? They're in a rural area, and the church had been there for 5 years, and they tried absolutely everything, but nothing had worked. A church of 60 people went from 60 to 110 in only 2 months. Okay, and look at this. These numbers are drastically different. This shows you just how powerful it is. They only had 277 subscribers, in those 2 months. They weren't spending a whole lot of money on the Facebook ads themselves, but they had 173 prayer requests, and they had only 10 plan your visits and 14 soft plan your visit, right, RSVPs. So they had about 24 people, but they went from 60 to 110 in only 2 months because, again, it's not just about plan your visits. This is going to work because you are reaching people in your city. You're building value. You're building relationship equity and leadership. And so this church, without a ton of plan your visits and without a ton of subscribers, literally went from 60 to 110 in only 2 months because this effectively got the word out about their church. Here's another church of 130 people that we partnered with. Now, they'd hit a plateau in their attendance. They're actually a church plant. They'd been growing for a while, right? And then they kind of plateaued, and they're running about 120, 130. They couldn't get over the hump. So Pastor Jeff actually saw one of our Facebook ads and decided to try out the program. Here's what happened. Over the summer, they had over 90 first-time guests over the summer, June, July, and August. They're the two biggest membership classes of their entire existence, right? So out of the 2 years they'd been there, the two biggest membership classes were in July and August. All right, everyone else was experiencing the summer slump, and they grew, and they broke the 200 barrier in July. So over 90 first-time guests, the two biggest membership classes they'd ever had of people joining the church, and they broke the 200 barrier over the summer using the Facebook Ministry Ads program, right? So here's how it was. They had 420 subscribers. They had 29 planned visits, 307 prayer requests. You can see 20 RSVPs, right? Broke the 200 barrier in July. They went from 130 to 200 in only 3 months. They're about 6 months in now, and they're running somewhere in the 220 to 230 range. So they've essentially added about 100 people to their church in 6 months just with the momentum from Facebook Ministry Ads. So show you a couple more here. Here's Pastor Aaron says, Chris, just prayed with a lady to receive Jesus as her Lord and Savior. This is so awesome, bro, right? So you're not just getting Facebook ads and church growth, but people are actually coming to know Jesus as a result of the Facebook. We get messages like this a lot from pastors saying, oh my gosh, I just led another person to Christ through Facebook because of the ads. Here's another one who reached out to Caleb on our teams. Caleb, we're absolutely loving the results of the ad. 3rd day in, and I've lost count of the prayer requests and already led someone to the Lord, another salvation on Facebook. Also, I believe we're up to 3 plan your visits, and a few others said they would come, but didn't sign up for plan your visit, right? So 3rd day, and he'd lost track of the prayer request and already had 3 plan your visits in the first 3 days and led someone to the Lord on Facebook. Here's another one. This is unbelievable. The response has been tremendous. I had to turn off the ad for a while in order to catch up. It's working like nothing I've ever seen before. 16 prayer requests, 3 plan your visits in 1 day. All right, here's another one. Said at the bottom there, we had about 15 first-time guests, and some were plan your visit, right? It's not all about plan your visit, but 15 first-time guests, some were plan your visit. Thanks. It really is today's ministry to people, right? Understanding that social media is where everyone's attention at, right? 2.5 billion people on Facebook and 1.6 billion log in every single day. Here's another one. By the way, we've had 13 visitors in the last 3 weeks. And this week we had 4 salvations and rededications. That makes a total of 6 salvations and rededications since they began the system in 3 weeks. Here's Pastor Will. So thanks, Chris. 10 guests in 2 weeks, and 1 woman received Christ this past Sunday. Here's another one. Fun story. Just had a lady approach me in the local coffee shop. She said, hi, Pastor. I saw you on Facebook. Will you pray for me? Led to a great conversation about God, life, and church. So the impact is not only social media, but also public image as well. All right. Here's Pastor Jamie. He said, totally just led a guy named Jason to the Lord while talking on the Facebook prayer page. Here's another one. Says, we had several families attend just because of the Facebook blast that went out over the weekend. It more than doubled what we had at church the week prior. One lady entered with a bunch of teenagers, walked right up to me in the lobby and said, we've been talking on Facebook. Thank you for praying for me and inviting me. All right, here's another one. In 5 weeks from Facebook alone, we've had 20 first-time guests, 8 return guests, 3 received Christ, 2 contemplating suicide that were connected with preventative care, 558 audio prayers. It works great for us. All right, here's another one. Pastor Rudy says, this program works. So we've had multiple people visit the church. We've prayed for many people. We've also led people to Christ. It works, and it's worth the investment. Here's another one that says, hey, man, I know you guys said the fortune is in the follow-up. Well, I've taken that approach to our ministry ads and followed up with some of the people from the beginning of the program that he hadn't talked to in a month or so. He said, I just got 2 more plan your visits from it. Maybe something to suggest during next week's coaching call, which is something that we do just about every single Wednesday, where we have coaching calls to kind of coach all of the churches through Facebook ministry ads and kind of share stories and find out, what's working and what's not working, and kind of navigating all of that. So we did. We talked about it on that week's coaching call. Here's another one. Said we had four first-time visitors last Sunday and 2 repeat visitors, so we're excited about the results. This one says we had 4 planner visits in 3 weeks. We've only been doing $5 a day, but we're getting great results. Thanks. The families are showing up and have been coming for the last 3 weeks. Thanks again. This has given our new church plant a great boost. We started with 2 people 4 weeks ago and now have an average of 16 for the last 3 weeks. So they literally went from 2 to 16 in 4 weeks. Not too bad. Here's another one. This church went from 15 to 50 in 90 days. It wrote to one of our team members, Heather, said, thank you for this avenue to expand the church. It's really helped us tremendously, moving our church from just having over 15 people in attendance. Most were attending every other week, and some just for their bills to be paid. Today, we're rocking a solid attendance of 50 per Sunday, 15 to 50 in 90 days. All right. This was when we actually ran this for my church. In the first 33 days, you can see there, we had 812 subscribers, 549 prayer requests, 85 planner visits in the first month, and 26 RSVPs. So I'll wrap up this video just by showing you, obviously, that's a ton of churches, and I could go on, but I want to make sure to say this. This is not a magic bullet, and this isn't going to just be a set it and forget it program. Okay, you have to do the work if you want to see results. But if you're willing to do what it takes, you're willing to do the work, you're willing to spend time praying for people as the prayer requests come in, you're willing to call the planner visits within 15 minutes as they start to come in, I'm telling you, you commit to this program, you do the work, and you won't even recognize your church 12 months from now. We've seen it over and over and over with the churches we've partnered with, but it requires work on your part. Again, it's not a magic bullet. It's not set it and forget it. You have to be boots on the ground, like doing ministry in the trenches, and you have to be willing to send the audio prayers, right? And pray for those people as the prayer requests come in, and you got to call your planner visits. So the bottom line is that we can only take on a few churches each month to make sure, we can only take on a few churches each month. So if you're watching this, you have a follow-up call scheduled. If not, reach out and send me an email, chris@churchgrowthagency.com, to get that scheduled. But if you've already got your follow-up call scheduled, so at that appointed time, please show up to your follow-up call so that we don't give your spot away to someone else, right? We'd hate for you to have to wait a couple of weeks or maybe even next month or longer because we don't have time to get you in the build-out phase. So show up to your follow-up call, put a calendar reminder in there. You'll probably be getting calendar reminders from us as well, but put an alarm in your phone. Make sure that you show up to that follow-up call. And then if you decide that you want to get started right away before that next scheduled call that we have, you can just email me, chris@churchgrowthagency.com, to get started right away, and we can get you rolling. All right. Thanks so much. Again, I'm Chris Abbott. This is Facebook Ministry Ads. We'll see you soon.